Welcome back to the Grep News Podcast. I'm Bam Rather, and our show today is about Iran's national soccer team stepping onto the pitch at the 2026 World Cup on American soil, just hours after a ceasefire was announced between the two nations that have been at war since February, while protesters outside the stadium laid the Islamic Republic's flag on the ground for people to walk over. There's a flag on the pavement outside SoFi Stadium, and people are stepping on it. It's an Islamic Republic flag, the official one, the flag of the government that currently runs Iran, the flag that flies over its embassies and its ministries and, in about 90 minutes from when this scene is taking place, will fly inside the stadium over Iran's opening World Cup match against New Zealand. A 21-year-old protester named Parsa Izzati and his mother brought it. They laid it on the ground so anyone walking into the stadium could scuff it, spit on it, walk across it on their way to their seats. Izzati's line to a reporter is the kind of sentence you write down and read back 3 times to make sure you have it right. Quote, "FIFA only accepts this flag on the floor." Here's why that sentence does so much work. A few hours before kickoff, a judge in Los Angeles Superior Court named Curtis Kin upheld FIFA's ban on the pre-revolutionary Iranian flag, the lion and the sun, the flag of the monarchy that fell in 1979. The flag that, for the roughly 1 million Iranians who live in the United States, is the flag of the country they, or their parents, had to leave. FIFA's lawyers argued safety and logistical consistency across stadiums. The judge agreed. He noted, and I'm quoting the ruling, "There may be harm to some 2,500 staff members who have to deal with safety protocols." Translation, changing the flag policy at one stadium midstream is operationally messy, and the court is not going to make FIFA do it. The world's most lucrative sporting body cannot rewrite a printout because the lanyard people would be inconvenienced. So as of that ruling, the only Iranian flag you can legally bring inside SoFi Stadium is the Islamic Republic flag, the one Izzati and his mother are inviting strangers to step on outside the gates. The banned flag, the lion and sun, made it in anyway. One protester, a 42-year-old woman named Ella Ba, smuggled it in worn as a dress. Her line, "We're not here to cheer them on. We're here to be the voice for the people inside Iran." That inversion, sanctioned flag underfoot on the sidewalk, banned flag pulled from under a hemline in the stands, is the entire World Cup, in miniature, for a team that is playing a tournament inside the country that has been bombing it since late February. Let me lay out what has actually happened around this match, because the absurdity is load-bearing. In late February, the United States and Israel launched strikes on Iran. According to the reporting, the initial strikes killed Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. Here's what stopped me. That claim is stated as fact across multiple outlets, and yet none of them describe the strike in any detail. A head of state is killed in a foreign airstrike, and the precise circumstances do not appear to be anywhere in the public record I can find. I want to flag that because confidence and sourcing are not the same thing. Multiple outlets repeating each other is not multiple outlets confirming anything. File it under things worth coming back to. The war shut down Iran's domestic football league. Most of the 26 players on the World Cup squad have not played a competitive match in roughly 3.5 months. The team was originally supposed to train in Tucson. Instead, they relocated to Tijuana and have been crossing the border on match days, a roughly 5-hour journey, including a short flight that on Sunday required a second landing attempt. They are housed in Manhattan Beach. They have been met by protesters, drones, and sniffer dogs. The team's star striker, Sardar Azmoun, is not on the roster. Reports indicate he was omitted over a photo with the ruler of Dubai that angered Tehran. The head coach, Amir Ghalenoei, has publicly lamented his absence. 2 media relations staff were denied U.S. visas for the opener. Earlier, Iran's Federation Executive Director, Secretary General, and Media Director were also denied visas. A Somali referee named Omar Artan was turned away at Miami and cut from the tournament's 104-game schedule. An Iraqi player was detained for several hours in Chicago. A photographer with the Iranian delegation was denied entry. And Iran's federation says FIFA revoked its fan ticket allocation for all 3 group stage matches, an allocation that, under FIFA's own rules, should be 8% of stadium capacity. around 5,600 seats for the opener. FIFA's response was that it is working closely on solutions, which is the kind of phrase you use when you do not want to say either yes or no. Here's where I want to quote FIFA President Gianni Infantino from a different host nation cycle. Quote, "Any team, including the supporters and the officials, need to have access to the country. Otherwise, there is no World Cup." That sentence is now being read back at FIFA by Piara Power of the Fair Network, who put the question this way: is it FIFA, or is it the U.S. government with its racially charged immigration policies? The answer that FIFA seems to have arrived at in practice is the U.S. government decides who gets in. FIFA decides what flag they can wave once they're inside, and the two have a working relationship. In December, at the World Cup draw at the Kennedy Center, Infantino presented Donald Trump with what was called the inaugural FIFA Peace Prize. There was no second one yet because there had not been a first one until that moment. The Peace Prize was inaugurated and awarded in the same gesture, which is the regulatory equivalent of writing the rules of a board game on the back of the box while you're winning. 6 weeks later, the country receiving the Peace Prize started bombing the country that had just qualified for the tournament. And then comes Sunday. Hours before the opener, during the window when Iran's captain Mehdi Taremi and Ghalenoei were taking the podium for their pre-match press conference, Trump announced an initial U.S.-Iran ceasefire deal. The Strait of Hormuz, which before the war handled roughly 1/5 of the world's oil and natural gas, would reopen. A formal signing was scheduled for Friday in Geneva. According to senior U.S. officials speaking anonymously, the deal includes a possible release of frozen Iranian funds, sanctions easing, a $300 billion reconstruction fund tied to benchmarks, and a 60-day window for Iran to decide what to do with its enriched uranium stockpile. Single-sourced through anonymous officials, worth noting before anyone treats those numbers as settled. Neither Taremi nor Ghalenoei addressed any of it from the podium. Taremi's line was the line he has held all week. "We do not get involved in politics. We are here to play football." He also said, and this is the quote that I think actually tells you where the players are, "This kind of tension undermines that joy, and it undermines the message of FIFA and our people, which is about football and bringing about peace." Ghalenoei put it more flatly. Iran will be playing as locals in Los Angeles in spite of it all. Roughly 18 hours after the host country agreed to stop bombing their country, they kicked off. Notice what's missing from almost every account of this. Nobody is saying out loud whose tournament this actually is. FIFA has positioned itself as a logistics provider working around the host's security state. The host's security state, through Andrew Giuliani at the White House FIFA task force, has positioned itself as a vetting layer, with Giuliani offering the formulation that, quote, "There are some people that claim that they are coaches that may not be coaches." Iran's federation has positioned itself as the aggrieved party. The diaspora has positioned itself against the federation. The players, caught in the middle, are insisting on a non-political space that does not exist anywhere on the premises. And the missing voice in nearly all of this coverage is the one inside Iran itself. The fans who are allocated 5,600 seats and then weren't. We are hearing from the diaspora, from the federation, from FIFA, from the State Department. We are not hearing from them. Which brings me back to the flag on the pavement. What I know now that I didn't when I started pulling at this, the question of whether sport can be separated from politics has a clean, empirical answer in this case. And the answer is no. Not because the players failed to keep them apart, but because every institution around the players, FIFA, the State Department, a California court, the White House task force, the Iranian Federation, the diaspora nonprofits, made decisions in the past 4 months that determined who would play, who would coach, who would referee, who would watch, and which piece of cloth could be in the building. The match itself is what's left over after all of those decisions get made. The one thread worth watching is what happens Friday in Geneva. If the ceasefire is formally signed, Iran's remaining group stage matches, Belgium on the 21st, Egypt on the 26th in Seattle, will be played by a team representing a country at formal peace with its host for the first time in 3.5 months. If it collapses, particularly over Israel's posture in Lebanon or that 60-day uranium decision, the tournament becomes the stage on which the war resumes. Either way, the flag on the pavement is still going to be there, and someone is still going to step on it. Share this story to support investigative AI-powered news and learn more at grep.news.
Grep News. Thomas.